Hey everyone, it's Brooke. Welcome back to my channel. I'm going to start trying to do weekly wrap-ups. I think that might just be what I'm more into at this point. Monthly wrap-ups are really sort of, I'm struggling with them. I'm struggling with even wanting to do them. But having like an informal, chatty, weekly kind of catch-up is just more my speed right now, so we'll see if it works. So recently, I have been reading Mistborn, or The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson. This is the first book in his Mistborn trilogy. I know you guys have heard all about it. I am enjoying it. I am almost done. Perhaps I'll even be done today. If you want to kind of know my more specific thoughts that I've been having along the way, I've been updating my status on a daily basis on Goodreads, and I will also be talking about this probably in great detail, because I found that I've struggled a bit with sort of epic fantasy, especially like really popular epic fantasy, but I'm not struggling with this, and I want to examine that a little bit further. Last Saturday, I sat down and read a book I had just gotten in the mail. And I loved it so much, and I honestly, I don't know how to talk about it coherently, so just know that the takeaway from this is that you should read this book. And that is This Will Be My Undoing, Living at the Intersection of Black, Female, and Feminist in White America by Morgan Jerkins. So like I said, I sat down, started this on a Saturday, finished it just past midnight that same day. I would stop and talk about it to my husband and have conversations with him about some of the things she had said. I loved her voice in this, and it's very memoir adjacent. It's like each chapter is like an essay, and it deals with exactly what the subtitle, says it does, her being a black woman in America, and how both being black and being a woman, how those things and those identities affect her and have always affected her, and how they always will affect her. And she goes through anecdotes, from when she's growing up in New Jersey to when she goes to college at Princeton, and to moving to New York and starting her writing career. And I'm very incoherently, I just want to try to impress upon you that the ways in which she is so honest about particularly stuff having to do with her sexuality, getting into like the sort of psychological dynamics of why she likes the porn she likes, it's so honest and raw and unflinching, and it really confronted me in a way that I wasn't necessarily expecting to be confronted, where I had to start thinking about things like that in my own life, sort of in a deeper way. And I just really appreciated the way that she sort of, like, I had to stop and pause several times and kind of think about things. And her writing really was evocative in that way, and it pulled something from me that I think I try not to even think about too honestly with myself. And here she is, like, sharing these aspects of herself with like whoever reads this book. And so I just have so much respect for her, and I think she's just an amazing woman, and you should follow her on Twitter. And yeah, it's quick, it's short, read this. I loved it. A book I did not love recently, and this really hurts me because I picked it up on the recommendation of one of my favorite comics podcasts. They do this big sort of end of the year awards show, and this was one of their top 5 graphic novels of the year. And that is Jane by Aline Brosh McKenna, drawn by Ramon K. Perez. Now this is a modern, updated retelling of Jane Eyre. All of those things, graphic novel, modern, updated retelling of Jane Eyre, are like so in my wheelhouse that I was always going to read this. However, I thought it was mostly terrible, sadly. The first like 30 pages setting up, getting to know Jane, and her kind of tragic past, and her moving away from this family, this adopted family that's kind of ignored her, and she's moving to New York City to be this artist. Like, that was a great section. I mean, first off, the art is phenomenal throughout the whole thing, but I really like this one transition I'm going to just share with everyone. So when she's leaving this kind of nowhere town that's just done nothing for her, this is her, like, the bus is over here. She's leaving, half the page doesn't even have anything on it. And then when she gets to New York, the very next page, it's just filled and it's got this color. And it's just such a transition, and the art is doing all of the storytelling. It's amazing. But when we get into the Rochester part of the story, it completely falls apart, and it's updated in this modern way that involves like an incest twist. That was awful and unnecessary. And I didn't think that the Rochester in this had any charm or charisma. I did not understand the relationship at all. I liked her relationship with Adele a lot in this. And then like the mad woman in the attic, the way they did that with like this like crime connection and hiding from people trying to kill her, and it's a mess. It didn't need to be done this way. I would have much preferred, this art just telling the basic story of Jane Eyre and leaving all that other crap just out. And it made me so sad because it had promise, and it just totally fell apart. Not very far in. I read the whole thing. I mean, it's one of those books I feel like, do I keep it or not because I love the art so much? I don't know. Probably not. It just makes me so angry. Wanted to like this. And I, especially because Aline Brosh McKenna is a fairly famous writer. She's one of the most successful female screenwriters of like ever. She wrote the screenplay for The Devil Wears Prada and like 27 Dresses, among many other movies. And she's the co-creator of My Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. So all of those things led me to believe that this was going to be the thing that I was going to love. And it wasn't. It was the opposite. I mean, incest and Jane Eyre. If I could hiss, I would hiss at it. So yeah, that's just kind of a quick wrap up of my first week of February. Let me know down below what you're reading, anything that's made you want to hiss at it recently, or something that just, makes you want to curl up in a ball and cry about how amazing it is, because that's how I felt about Morgan Jerkins and her book. Let me know down below, and I will talk to you guys next time.